Okay, so this is SAT math test number 4. And you look here at the bottom, it's the 2024 edition. So these are all the SAT suites that are on the College Board. Okay, so let's take a look at this relationship. This is the scatter plot, shows a relationship between two variables, x and y. Once again, if you look here, or maybe I shouldn't say once again, here it is. In general, um, as y increases, sorry, as x increases, y decreases. So this value here is x. That's the horizontal, and then we have the vertical, which is y. So y's highest point is like right here is 10. So when x is 0, y is 10. We wrote this here. When x is 1, y is 9.1, and then you have a little 2.25. You get the general point that it's really 2.25. It's really like 8.25. It's not quite 8. So you're getting a slope. If you take the first value and you make this y2, and this is y1, and this is x2, and this is x1, and you put them in place here. Remember, this would be x2 minus x1, y2 minus y1. You're going to get this. Remember, this 10 is larger, so it's negative 0.9 over 1, because you would line it up as 10.1, or I'm sorry, 10.0 minus 9.1. And you just have to remember that this is negative. If you write it like this, just remember you're still subtracting. This is negative. This is now 9. This is 9. This is borrowed. This is 0.9, and your sign is negative. So that's how you get your slope. And even though it's moved over here, this is your slope, y equals mxb. They're just moved around. But b is still positive over here, but the slope is negative, and this is negative. And this is what your slope is. Okay, so now when you get ready to plug it into the equation, you can see this is the same. It's just that it's switched around. It's negative 0.9 plus x. Leave this alone, and this is really like x2, whatever value. And just remember that your slope is negative. This is negative. This is a positive slope, so b's out. This is a positive slope, so a's out. This is positive, so your only choice is d. And that is the correct answer. Okay, so this was taken from the same one, Module 2. This was Test Suites, Section 4, or Test 4. The given equation describes the relationship between the number of birds b to the number of reptiles. These pets are cared for in a pet store. If the business cares for 16 reptiles on a given day, how many birds can the store's personnel care for on this day? Now listen, you take what you have. You have 16 reptiles. And this is your original equation. So this bracket means to multiply 5 times 16, which becomes 80. Now, if you had an equation which was given to you, and this is the equation, I just wrote it in red. The equation was already given to you. It's 2.5b plus 5r equals 80. So you already have 80 equals 80. This number, if you put 1 here, would mean that 2.5 times 1 would be 80 plus 2.5, giving you 82.5, which does not equal 80. Not in an equation like this. It's approximate, but it doesn't equal. So guess what you get to do? You get to plug it back into the original equation. I'm going to write this in purple. This has to be 0. 2.5 times 0 because this has to give you 0. Why? because 0 plus 80 is going to give you 80. 80 equals 80. And so your correct answer was 0, as you're going to see on the next page. Okay, so didn't I say 0? Because any of these numbers have to be multiplied by this, because these numbers 0, 5, 40, 80 represent B. So it has to be 0. So your answer is A. If you check your answer keys, that's what it says. Okay, let's go on to this. What is the equation of the graph shown? Well, all you have to do is plug in points. When x is 0, it's -8. And keep in mind, because it's going down, this is the negative side, and they put the negatives here. But just keep it in mind, it's going down, so it's negative here. There's really nothing that's positive except for if you come over here towards, like, that's -8 and 0, and this is -10 and +2. So you have to get to -10 plus 2, which is still going to give you 8. So when you look at what you're doing, you know, your instinct is to go 2x, -2x, because here's your slope, y2, which is which you can use as 10, and you're going to go -8 and 2 and 0. You can also go -2 and 0. So when you go -2, don't forget the negatives, this becomes -1. Now this, remember, is how you figure out your slope. So your slope is -1. Which one over here is -1? The only other one is -2, and it wants you to get messed up. So this is now -1x minus 8. Okay, because all the rest of them are -8, so all you had to do was figure out the value, and you did that by going y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Pretty simple. Except if x over 8, this is question 13 on the SAT, if x over 8 equals 5, what is the value of 8 over x? Now look, this you can see is an inverse. You have x over 8 equals 5, and then you have 8 over x, and people are like, oh God, I got to do something, I got to put the 5 here, and they start panicking. Break it down. Forget this for now and take care of the first. You were given a problem, x over 8 equals 5 over 1, so you cross multiply. And when you cross multiply, you know, like you're tying a rope, this is 1x, and then this is 8 times 5, that's why it's called cross multiplication. Okay, when you do that, you get that x equals 40 because 8 times 5 is 40. Now, before you start getting impatient or angry or rude, make sure that when you plug this next value in, you put the x here. Since that's what it equals, you put it over there, and you look for what is on, what it can be. And usually you'll have a choice, A, B, C, or D, but you don't have this. This is fill in the blanks. So you have what you call a fill-in, and you're going to have to do, you're going to have to put your 1 up here, dash here, and a 5 here. And then you're going to go fill in your blanks, because it's 1/5. And please don't get confused and do 5. Okay, so 1/5 is here, and this is how you bubble it in. 1, the dashes are here, see, but you make sure the dash is here in this. And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't bubble it in right, and then that's another thing that makes it wrong.